Bonjour à tous et désolé du petit retard de démarrage. Non, c'est 16 heures. So thank you very much for coming for this new session of the research seminar of the IFAO. And we are very pleased to welcome today Mercedes Vollet, who is Director of Research at the CNRS, and who will be the discussant of Sarah Fathallah Gara. And thank you very much, Sarah, for proposing this topic. And she will speak about the ceremonies of protocols in Egypt and the recent period. And she will be introduced and, if necessary, discussed by Mercedes. So thank you very much for this new session.
Okay, hello everyone. I can see that this topic is attracting a lot of interest, so this is fantastic because it's modern Egypt, so we love modern Egypt. Today we have the pleasure to be listening to Sarah Fathallah Gara. She is preparing a PhD at Ain Shams University. She's also part of the faculty there, and she has been a researcher here, chercheur doctoral at IFAO for 1 year. But before that, and even currently, she's a member of the research team of La Fabrique du Caire Moderne, which is a program who is running for a number of years now. So we work with Sarah since at least 4 or 5 years, no?
219.
Yeah, well,
2019,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. And Sarah is also part of another project which is linked, which is Digital Cairo, a project run by Adam Mestian at Duke University. So, well, so Sarah, the floor is yours.
Hello everyone. I would like firstly to thank Monsieur Jouache for accepting my proposal to present today my project about ceremonies and protocols in Egypt, and Professor Mercedes Vollet for being a discussant for today's seminar. And the topic of this research is my MA thesis about the ceremonies and protocols in Egypt. And I was aiming firstly to focus on how was the protocols and ceremonies of the ruling family of Muhammad Ali between 1805 and 1952, how they were developed and if they were influenced by the political situation of the country and which administrations were responsible for it. So if we started firstly with the ceremonies, we would say that ceremonies are procedures and rules of celebrating official and important occasions, such as the anniversary of the monarch or his marriage. The protocols are rules or traditions which are followed formally in the ceremonies and everyday life. So protocols are parts of the ceremonies, and they're very essential part of it. About the previous studies concerning the protocols, there is a study of Magid Fārūq, 1852, the last protocol, which is a study mainly based on an official book published by the cabinet of the Grand Chamberlain of King Fārūq in 1946, with a little edits concerning the royal marriage of Princess Fawziyya and many attached photos which are not exist in the original book. There is also a series of articles called al-Marasim or Protocles, typically extracted from the original book of al-Marasim, and there is a study of Amarat al-Sa'id, which is covering the ceremonies and the ceremonies which took place during the time of Khedive Ismail and how they were influencing the Egyptian economy. Then we have the study of Tariq al-Komi, and this one was mainly focusing on the traditions of the princes of the ruling family from 1805 until 1914, and some of the ceremonies which took place during this time. So before 1946, we don't have an official register for the protocols of the royal court or the royal palace of Muhammad Ali and his successors. The first book to be registered included all protocols which are concerning this family, was a book of al-Marasim. The story which is behind this book was published in a special issue of al-Musawwir magazine for the royal marriage of King Fārūq and Nariman. And as it was mentioned here, that King Fārūq had accidentally discovered that the Egyptian protocol isn't registered in an official book. So he had formed a committee and ordered them to make an official publication to include everything concerning the royal palace and its protocols. This book was al-Marasim in an Arabic version, which was published in 1946, and 1 year later, another French version under the title Protocol was published. So the committee which had worked on this book were Abdel Latif Talat Basha, the Grand Chamberlain of King Fārūq, and Sadiq Wahba, the first Chamberlain of Abdin Palace, and two other members which were the uncle of King Fārūq, Sharif Sabri, and Mustafa Sadiq Bey, who was a former deputy in the Ministry of the Foreign Affairs. Well, the main problem was how to know about the protocols and the administrations which were regulating it before the publishing of the book of al-Marasim in 1946. So when I returned to the archival units in Dar al-Wasaiq, it was very interesting that nothing concerning Diwan Kabir al-Umana or the cabinet of the Chamberlain to be an archival unit independently. So I have worked on other archival units on which I extracted all the information concerning the development of the administration of Kabir al-Umana and the protocols of the royal palace and the ruling family. The most interesting archival units were Majlis al-Balat al-Malaki and Majlis al-Nuzar wal-Wuzara, and the two diwans of the Sultan and the King, and two interesting archival units concerning the researches of done around the protocols, and the one of Abdin Palace. There was also interesting sources concerning the chronicles of the royal entourage and the memories and diaries of the ruling family members. And the most important one also were the publications of the ministries and the governments. And as we see here in this photo, this is a publication by the Egyptian government concerning the protocol of the ranks and the orders in Egypt when it was sultanate, an independent sultanate. The press was also very interesting and very rich with details concerning the different ceremonies and protocols, such as al-Ahram, al-Basir, and al-Muqattam, and even the European one like the Illustrated London News and the Times, which were usually giving details about ceremonies, especially the investitures of the king or his marriage. What was very interesting for me also to find the large and great helpful museum collections that could support the idea and the topic of the ceremonies. One of the most important one was a collection presented in the museums of Abdin Palace, the one of the orders and decorations, the military museum, and the one of the document museum, which is including a large collection of museums, large collection concerning the investiture of the king and the condolences and the royal marriage of Princess Fawzia. The museums also of the royal carriages are very interesting because they supported me with different, with the forms of the different types of the carriages that used to be exist in the different official processions. The museum also in the Egyptian parliament is very rich for the collections concerning or related to the opening ceremonies of the parliament, and the Royal Jewelry Museum in Alexandria also including large collection of orders and decorations. And the one of the National Suez Museum was interesting for things concerning the ceremonies of the inauguration of the Suez Canal. I would like also to thank Prince Bas Helmi III for illustrating for me a part of the protocols concerning the official dress and how it used to be. And he had also introduced for me Mr. Yunus Fuad, who was son of the fourth Chamberlain of King Fārūq, who had supported me with some documents of his father concerning the ranks and orders which his father had got during the time of King Fārūq. Then if we moved to how was the protocol in Egypt was regulated before 1946, it would be clear that during the time of Muhammad Ali, we just have a member in al-Ma'iyya al-Saniyya called Ig Aghasi, who was responsible for regulating the ceremonies and protocols in general. And then later on, during time of Abbas first, we find an organization which is called Qalam al-Tashrifat, and it was included a member which was entitled as al-Tashrifati. By time of Said, the same institution was exist, but it was included Ma'muri al-Tashrifat, who was employees also responsible for applying the protocol and regulating the ceremonies. By time of Khedive Ismail, and it was also exist during his successor Khedive Tawfiq, the Qalam al-Tashrifat was still exist, but it developed much more, and it became, at its head, we have Tashrifati al-Khidawi, and then Tashrifati Sani, another master of ceremony, and then 4 assistants for the master of ceremonies. By time of Khedive Abbas II, the column of al-Tashrifat still exists, but a little change in the number of the employees were to be noticed. And then we have Egypt as a sultanate. The column al-Tashrifat become al-Tashrifat al-Sultaniyya, and then the head of this institution become Kabir al-Umana, the Grand Chamberlain. And we have 3 lesser umana, 3 master of ceremonies, 2 secretaries, and 2 under-secretaries. So it developed much more, a larger number of employees. And then when Egypt became a kingdom, this form of the cabinet of the Grand Chamberlain was approved by King Fārūq in 1946. At the top of this administration is Kabir al-Umana, the Grand Chamberlain, followed by 4 lesser chamberlains, a master of ceremonies, then 2 secretaries and 2 under-secretaries. What was very interesting for me is how those people used to wear during their work. This was mentioned in the book of al-Marasim, and it was said that they have to wear the red and gold suits, as we see in this photo, the black one and even the gray one were by King Fārūq. This is the official dress for every person or every employee who used to work in the cabinet of the Grand Chamberlain. They used also to attach to their dress a small insignia or signature with the name of the king, and it differs from rank to the other. So the one of the Kabir al-Umana is different from the one of first Amin or first Chamberlain, and those of the second and third, and even the one of the master of ceremony was a little bit different from all the others. By time of King Fārūq, another form was admitted, and it looks like a hexagonal form, and it also included the name of the king. The main tasks or the main responsibilities for this cabinet of the Grand Chamberlain, as it was published in 1946, were mainly summarized in 14 points. They were mainly concerning the regulations of the official ceremonies and even the banquets attended by the king, the official visits, and they used to represent the king in different ceremonies, organizing any ceremony concerning foreign visitor kings. And we have also, they had to get in contact with all institutions related to the ceremonies in which the king were going to attend. Then the protocols, according to the book, they are many. The book originally is consisting of 12 parts, and each part is consisting of from 1 chapter to 3 chapters. So part of the protocols or part of the book was concerning the orders and decorations. But before 1946, Egypt was mainly using the Ottoman orders and decorations of the Ottoman Empire. So the first Ottoman decoration was al-Magidi, and as we see here, it was consisting of 5 ranks. This is the first one on the left, and the second rank on the right, where the person used to attach this ribbon around his neck, and the order used to be attached to his left side. Then these are the last 3 ranks of al-Magidi order. Then the order of al-Osmani, which is consisting of 4 ranks, but the third one here used to be also attached to the neck, but the ribbon is missing. Then here we have our first Egyptian order. This one is dating to 1882, and as we see, this date was mainly attached to the British protectorate over Egypt, and this was called as the Star of Khedive Tawfiq. Then later we find that the orders become totally Egyptian one, and we are no more using the Ottoman orders and decorations by the announcement of the Egyptian Sultanate. So this one is the color of Muhammad Ali, and it was one of the very highest orders, almost probably just given to the princes of the ruling family and the ministers. And then here are 2 medals for the same order of Muhammad Ali, and this is the earliest form of it. Then we have the order of Nil, which is consisting of 5 other degrees or ranks. And this one was very interesting because during the Sultanate we have this order which was called the Order of the Farming. And then later on, when Egypt became a kingdom, the name of this order changed to be the Order of the Agriculture, and this is its new form. This order was also the Order of Acknowledgement, or Wissam al-Ma'arif, and this appeared only during the kingdom, and it was to be given to those who had done prominent service in the field of the education and science. And the one here is the Order of the Trade and Fabrication, and this was also given to those who had done distinguished service in this field. Then this is one of the orders which were very interesting because it was only limited to the women. This one was called the Order of Al-Kamal, and the photo on the left is showing the earliest form of the order during the Sultanate and how it was developed later on when Egypt became a kingdom. This medal of, or this order of King Fuad Star is very interesting The photo on the right, on the left, sorry, is showing Negmet al-Sultan Fuad, the star of Sultan, the military star of Sultan Fuad. And here is the other form when Egypt became a kingdom, and its name was changed into the military star of King Fuad rather than Sultan Fuad. This order is the order of Khedive Ismail, and it was also among the new orders which were established during the Egyptian kingdom by King Fuad. And this is a very miniature decorations that was only used with an official dress called the mace dress, and we will see later how they are very small and tiny. As for the official dress or the protocol of the dress, we have official headdresses. By the early time of Muhammad Ali, we have the qawwuk, which is at the very left. This is worn mainly by the Mamluk. As for the elite and Muhammad Ali, they used to wear the turban, and later on the headdress changed to be the tarbouch, and this type of tarbouch was changed and developed a lot and become part of the official dress until 1952, sorry. And as for the official dress, we have the Albanian dress. This was the earliest official dress during Muhammad Ali. And for the soldiers, Muhammad Ali had developed a new dress called the Nizam Gadid. Here is a Sambuliya suit, which is an Ottoman official dress. Then by time of Khedive Ismail, we notice that there is a change. We have here an European style of dress, official dress. He's wearing a suit with decorations, no more related to the Ottoman Empire and the Ottoman traditional dress. Then according to the book of al-Marasim, the official dress was categorized into three main categories. The first one was for the military men or persons who are in military positions. The second category was for the persons who are working in civilian positions. And then we have those who are working in al-Shara' al-Sharif. So the dress was mainly linked to the rank of the person and his possession. So the first civilian dress was called the uniform, as we see in the first picture. What was equivalent to it for the military men was the Grand uniform, and then what was equivalent to the two others for the Rijal al-Shara' al-Sharif was called Kiswat al-Tashrif al-Ilmiya. People who are lesser in the ranks used to wear the following official dresses. For the military men, they used to wear a military suit, and for the people who are civilian used to wear a dress which was called the court dress. Then we have the redingot suit, which was part of the official dresses for those who hadn't got a rank, or this was usually their official dress. For the gray suit, there was a protocol to wear it between 15th of April until the end of October, and then from the end of October until the beginning of the following year, they used to wear the black one rather than the gray redingot. And here we see King Fārūq is wearing the smoking suit. This type of dress was usually for the evenings and parties which were attended by the king, but this was only limited to the civilians. The equivalent one for the military men or those who are in the military was a Mies dress, and as you see in this photo, there is a very miniature orders and decorations attached to the dress of King Fārūq. This is one which I have shown to you at the beginning. Then, what about the accessories? The two main types of accessories that used to be part of the official dress was the gloves and the ceremonial swords. And according to Prince Abbas Hilmi III, it was impolite to shaking hands with someone while wearing the gloves. At the same time, the ceremonial swords used to be attached to the left side of the official dress. And if we move to the official dress of the ladies and the queens and princesses of the ruling family, we would find that usually they wear an evening dress for the parties with jewelries and their orders of al-Kamal. And if they went outside the palace, they should wear gloves and the yashmak as on the photo on the right. Then other part of the protocols was the ranks and titles given to the persons. At the early time, we were mainly use the Ottoman titles and ranks of the Ottoman Empire. And at the same, there was a certain part of the year, usually in Sha'ban, and later on it became Shawwal, where the ranks were given to the people. Then later, when Egypt became a sultanate, the number of the military ranks and civilian ranks was changed and even wasn't related anymore to the Ottoman Empire. Here is a royal decree from King Fārūq offering the Bakawiya from second rank to his Chamberlain Mahmoud Yunus Beg. And then we move to the orders of the precedence. As for the orders of the precedence, firstly, before King Fuad, there wasn't an admitted official order for precedence. But normally, princes and prime ministers, followed by ministers and consuls of the foreign countries, and the high officials, this is how used to be the precedence. Then by the time of King Fuad, we have a very interesting booklet called Qarasat al-Asbaqiyya. It was published in 1924 by King Fuad to regulate the precedence of the individuals, the institutions, and even the ruling family members. The precedence of the individuals were according to their ranks and positions, and the ruling family members were, their precedence were regulating according to the decree of their kingship to the king. Here is a part of what was published in the book of al-Marasim concerning al-Asbaqiyya, and the precedence in general was regulated according to different number of tables, each concerning institutions. Some of them were concerning in the individuals, and others were for also the ruling family members. Then part of the protocols were the official levy, and it was very interesting to say that at the very beginning of time Muhammad Ali, this kind of ceremonies were mainly related to the two bayrams, and persons who used to come to the official levy should be firstly informed that they will come with a date and time and a place, and what should they dress, and even announcements used to be published in the official gazette. It was very interesting for me to find in the documents that Muhammad Ali is asking them to be sure that everyone come to the official levy should wear the official dress related to his rank and his job. Then later on, we find these interesting stairs in Abdin Palace These stairs were mainly linked to the ceremonies of the levee. Usually soldiers used to stand all along those stairs and then to receive those who were come to congratulate the king or and the princes of the ruling family, and to receive them in the different salons of the palace. Also in the official levee, we have to say that people are coming and are presented to the king according to the order of the precedence. Therefore, the royal carriages and processions, there were certain protocols and rules for this, for the royal processions, and it was also published in the book of al-Marasim with the types of the coaches that should be presented in each procession, and even with small illustrations for every procession concerning each ceremony. Those are two only examples from those which were presented in the book of al-Marasim, or the one of the protocol. As we see here, the square figures are representing the coaches. Those small strikes are representing the horses and their numbers. And these small circles are the people or the soldiers who used to guard the royal carriage. Then, as for the types of the ceremonies, we have official ceremonies which were included the investiture ceremonies of the rulers, and it developed a lot from the time of Muhammad Ali until the time of Fārūq. If we could summarize them up, the one of Muhammad Ali was very interesting because Sheikh al-Azhar come with a kuftan and give it to Muhammad Ali, and then Muhammad Ali swore that he will obey the orders of the ulama, and then this was the investiture of Muhammad Ali. Later on, usually an Ottoman Faraman used to come from al-Bab al-Ali or the Supreme Porte, affirming the authority of the Sultan, of the new Wali, and usually the ceremonies was taking place in the citadel. This is a short video from the investiture of King Fārūq. I don't know if it would work or not.
The burning of Jerusalem, while his mother watched, on his way to meet his father.
King Fārūq here is in the royal carriage, is directing to the parliament where the investiture ceremonies took place. And he is preceded by Nahas Besha. And then among the official ceremonies of were the anniversary of the investiture of the monarch, and this one was appeared since the time of Khedive Tawfiq, and wasn't exist before the time of Tawfiq, and it developed more and more until the time of King Fārūq. Among also the official ceremonies was the ceremony of the opening of the parliament, and as we see here in this photo in the Museum of the Parliament, still keeping the throne where King Fuad and then his son King Fārūq used to sit during the ceremonies of the opening of the parliament. And here is a part of the royal procession when the parliament was opened by the Regency Council before the investiture of King Fārūq. And these are the signs used to be worn by the members of the Shura Council and the representatives of the parliament. And this is the royal hymen, which is used to be played during the ceremonies of the parliament. And here is a royal coach used by King Fuad and then King Fārūq for the official ceremonies of the opening of the parliament. This chair is used to be the one of King Fārūq in the royal rest. And here is one of the throne speech which were dated to the reign of King Fuad. Also among the official ceremonies were the ceremonies of receiving foreign monarchs, and here we have a photo for the official visit of Sultan Abdulaziz to Egypt, and part of the official ceremonies of the inauguration of the Suez Canal. And one also of the most interesting one is the visit of King Abdulaziz Al Saud to Egypt in 1946. Those are two gifts which were given by King Abdulaziz to King Fārūq during his visit in 1946. Then among the official ceremonies also was the official receptions for the ambassadors and the potentiary ministers in the occasions of presenting their credential papers to the king. And there was a certain protocol for their official processions published in the book of al-Marasim. Then finally we have the ceremonies and protocols concerning the social events of the monarchs, which were mainly included the wedding ceremonies. One of the most prominent was those of King Fuad and Queen Nazli, and the one of King Fārūq and Queen Farida, and King Fārūq and Queen Nariman, and even the funeral ceremonies of the monarchs of Egypt, the one of Khedive Ismail, and the one of Sultan Hussein, King Fuad. And the one of King Fuad was very interesting because a long discussion took place in the court, because he was the first king to die and nothing was mentioned about the protocols concerning such a ceremony. And so a long discussion took place to decide what to do in such a ceremony. Then we have the celebrating of birthdays, anniversary, and protocols and ceremonies of the social events of the royal family members. For the wedding ceremonies, we have the Afrah al-Angal, the weddings of al-Angal, which took place during the time of Khedive Ismail. And there is a very interesting street right here called Afrah al-Angal, in reference to the place where the original ceremonies took place. And 4 wedding ceremonies and we have the wedding of Princess Fawziya and the Crown Prince Mohammed Rida Pahlavi. This interesting babonar used to be distributed among the guests. And this chess, which was a present from the Crown Prince of Iran to King Fārūq. And here is part of the celebrations which took place in Iran. And then we have the funeral ceremonies of the princes and princesses of the ruling family. The most distinguished one was the one of Prince Kamaluddin Hussein, and the one of Sultan Hussein. Then we have birthday ceremonies and the birth of the princes and the princesses of the ruling family. So in general, I would like to say that the political situation of the country had influenced a little bit or almost the ceremonies and protocols in Egypt. And thank you.
Well, thank you, Sarah, for this very informative presentation. To leave a bit of time for people to, ask questions, think about questions. Maybe I have a couple of comments, very short ones. One is that you have chosen both a very long and a very political chronology, but at the same time, and at the same time you say, oh no, but in fact they continue using Ottoman rules of, so maybe one question would be, what would be another chronology, that may, highlight continuities and ruptures, so that might. And also you say that the first Egyptian order is more or less introduced by the British, so this is also very interesting in 1882. So this is, well, and linked to that, you have presented a picture which is really the principles of the system, but as historians, we like to know how this worked, because the principles is something, the practices are generally something else. So since you look at a lot of documents in Tariq Wathaiq, I wonder what were the politics of ratification behind all this? I don't know. I mean, do the pashas or the beys or whatever accept it just like that, or were there fights? I mean, how, do you have an idea? The principles, okay, so we know, but now what was behind the scene? We would like, I don't know, maybe you don't know, then but yeah, I think it would be very interesting not to have only the principles, but also how it worked.
There were some fights, as I found. For example, when Muhammad Ali introduced the official dress of Nizam Gadid, the Janissary troops refused such an official dress. So he tried to get rid of them and to start to establish his own army, as it was mentioned. And this new army accepted this new form of the dresses. Also, in the documents, it was mentioned that there were many people who used to attend to the official levee without wearing their official dress. And every time Muhammad Ali or his successor Abbas is affirming that they should wear their official dress, and then finally he took a decision that the one who wouldn't wear the official dress wouldn't be able to attend to the official levee. That's it. So people weren't accepted. It takes time. As for the first Egyptian order of Khedive Tawfiq, it dates to 1882. So if we link to the political situation of the country this time, it would be clear that it's in the time equivalent to the British protectorate on Egypt. So
it was not even a protectorate. Actually, it was an occupation.
Okay, occupation. In a way or another, so it might be indicate that Egypt is no more related to the Ottoman Empire in a way or another. It has a kind of independency to establish a new order. But
Can you use the mic, please?
yeah, sure. So that's it. And for the chronicles, I think the best is I aim to make a kind of comparison between what was in the Ottoman Empire to the one in Egypt, and even what was in England compared to the one in Egypt. Very few things were concerning the United Kingdom was published in Musawwar that Hassanin was given. King Fārūq ordered his tutor to travel to England and to see how was the protocol in the royal court of Anderson. And when they asked him what about the protocol of the Haram Lake, he said, no, just keep it as my father King Fuad had done or made. So this is mean that maybe in time of King Fārūq, we had inspired a lot from the British court or the British protocols. That's it. Thank you.
I'm sure there are many questions. I'm sure Guylaine has questions. No? Maybe one remark?
Maybe one remark, which is a bit the same as the one made by Mercedes. I think you've been very much influenced by the Marasim book you've been using. And what you describe is very much the protocol as it has been established after the British occupation and after the abolition of the links between Egypt and the Ottoman Empire. And all this protocol is mainly inspired by the British one. It's not that much interesting for us. What is much more interesting is the way from Muhammad Ali to Sultan Hussein, the protocol of Egypt has been slowly changing from a very old one, which was still very Islamic, to a more national or so nearby national protocol. You never mentioned what happened for the religious feast, which were an important part of the Egyptian protocol at the time of Muhammad Ali or the first Khedives, okay? For Mawlid al-Nabi, for the beginning of Ramadan, or the end of Ramadan, when a new judge was appointed from Istanbul every year, there was a specific ceremony. Huh? You know that, of course. Yes. So why didn't you didn't say a word about this aspect? Huh? Never. So why? It's as important as well as the relation to the European way of thinking of a state protocol, okay? The real problem Egypt had is that in Islam there is no real tradition in monarchy. Mm-hmm. There are different forms of rulers, institutional orders, which could be more or less the same as monarchy, but not exactly the same, okay? And a sultanate is quite different from a monarchy, okay? So, what you said about the protocol at the time of the monarchs, okay, it's well known, we do have the same almost everywhere in the world at the same time. But what the shift between the older one and this one? This is what is important.
Well, I remember something that for the investiture of King Fārūq, there was a huge or a great debate to make an investiture in an Islamic form or to make it as what we finally see.
Finally.
So, there was a great debate, and Fārūq was firstly with the idea to make it an Islamic one, and then by the effort of Nahas and his political powers, finally it got in this civilian form rather than an Islamic one. So this was part of the protocols, sure, that was influenced by the Islamic one. And yes, for the Ramadan and the Bayrams, there was a protocol, and this one was published in the official book of al-Marasim. And I have mentioned part of it during the time of Muhammad Ali. At least we have mainly official avis that should take place in the two Bayrams. And there was a link between, it's not an European one, We have a mixture, at least.
Thank you, Sarah. I think it's interesting that your presentation comes a couple of days after the coronation of King Charles. So I don't know if you picked the date because of that or because Mercedes is here, but I guess the later, right? But no, so I wanted to ask also in relation to this, two questions and also this recent coronation is, there were demonstrations also against you know, in the UK against the monarchy and the costs spent on this and so on. So I also wonder if in any of the documents that you had seen, you raised now, you know, some points, but if you came across anything either in the newspapers or elsewhere where there was resistance against that, also for financial reasons other than also religious reasons that you brought up now.
Yeah, there is. Okay, by time of Khedive Tawfiq, for example, because of the political economical situation of the country at that time, he refused to make the traditional trip to Istanbul because this was part of the investiture of the Wali in general, since Muhammad Ali, or not Muhammad Ali actually, Abbas first, until Khedive Ismail. They usually have to travel to Istanbul to perform a part of their coronation or their investiture process. But by the time of Khedive Tawfiq, this tradition was stopped, maybe for political situations also of the British protectorate, or not only the economical situation. And as I have also observed, by the time of Sultan Hussein, because of the political situation of the country, there were many people who had refused to celebrate the investiture of Sultan Hussein because they used to think that Khedive Abbas II will return and he has the right to rule rather than Sultan Hussein. Also, yeah, by time of King Fārūq, it was totally different, as it was mentioned in the press mainly. That people come from all provinces to the capital to celebrate this great ceremony or this great event. And it was very popular. All institutions participated, and even the organizations used to publish advertisements of congratulating the king. And the situation was much more better than his predecessors. So, yeah. Thank you.
Other questions in the room?
I had the same question regarding the population. This is the same question. Like, what about, do you find some sources talking about reaction of the population perception of the protocols and ceremonies by people, and especially Islamists?
Actually,
because I know they wrote a lot about this topic, and they criticized the ceremonies.
well, the only thing that I remember now is the one concerning the coronation of King Fārūq, that they were against the idea of making a civilian or a celebration rather than an Islamic one. But any further things concerning that, I really don't know. Thank you.
Other questions?
Thank you, Sarah, for your very good presentation. I would like to ask about the crown, especially for females. If it appeared before 1924 and the constitution, or just the beginning was happened with the Egyptian constitution and announcing monarchial rule of kingship in Egypt. Did you find
A coronation?
Did you find any crowns for men, for women?
No, actually, there is no crowns for men, because the official headdress for men in general was a tarbouch. So even the king was wearing the tarbouch. As for women, yes, before 1914, we have the famous photos of Princess Fatma even is wearing very luxurious jewelries and a very luxurious crown. So yes, it was exist before 1914. We have crowns for ladies, but no crowns for men. Thank you.
Yes, Thank you, Sarah, for your presentation.
Thank you.
You mentioned the decoration for women, and I wanted to know more about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, yes, we have only one decoration that was offered to the women. It was called El-Kamal, and it was consisting of 4 degrees or 4 ranks. Every rank were given to prestigious or women of social rank. For example, women who are queens and princesses used to take the supreme rank of al-Kamal. And as I remember, there was a kind of a conflict between King Fārūq and Huda al-Sha'rawi, because he had given Kulthum the order of al-Kamal. And she thought that this is not an...
Maybe she was jealous.
Not just jealous, but she thought that this is a very elite thing that would never be given to an artist or a...
Yeah, they were not from the same background,
Yeah.
like Huda Sharawi, this is the
Yeah.
Turkish situation. And
Yeah,
Kulthum.
so every rank of this order was given to certain women according to the rank in the society. If it's queen, if she is a queen or a wife of a minister or
This is very interesting, this story about Kulthum. Was it happening also, or did this happen also for a man who received something like that, like Kulthum, which is not from the royal
no,
family?
I didn't attest something like that, because usually there is a protocol for giving men their ranks, their orders, sorry, and this was mainly according to their salary, their ranks, if he is a basha or a bey, and it's not like women, but in a way or another. You are welcome.
It's more than a real question and quite theoretical, but from a logical point of view, a lot of the things you showed us, the sources of your inquiry, of your research, what you showed us is mainly threefold: archive, text, material culture, and choreography. I think it's quite interesting, in my opinion, to be integrating the 3 kinds of documents. Obviously, I'm thinking about material culture more than archives, and I think that maybe you should go further in the analysis of material culture, and maybe doing some kind of comparison in the use of material culture, the use of choreography, as the display of legitimacy and power. And I think maybe you could go further and bring very innovative stuff, I think.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have the time for a last question, if someone...
Do you have any sources about the dissemination of the etiquette, the rules of etiquette into the elite through education, or do you have also any kind of treatise about the rhetorics that should be used during formal discourses and things like that?
Sorry, I didn't, because the mic was off.
Sorry. Do you have any sources about the dissemination of etiquette through the elite, treaties of education or about politeness and things like that, showing that it's from top to bottom there is an influence of these protocols on the population? And any sources about the rhetoric used during this ceremonial, for example, what I'm thinking as an Egyptologist, you know, what we have very precise type of discourse when granting someone with a distinction, and you will use always the same formulas, and of course it has also an influence on the rhetorics and what you teach to scribes in ancient Egypt, etc. So, is there any connection you can make?
Well, thank you. Yes, let's start from where and for the protocol and how it used the population, if it influenced it or not. Yes, people used to participate in different ceremonies, and even they were connected to the ceremonies concerning the ranks and orders, because usually ranks and orders were offered to people, and even if the monarch is participating in this in the ceremony of giving the order or the decoration, it's still linked to the population, and it was given to all persons, but according to their salaries. So yeah, ceremonies or the protocols were attached to people, and also they were participating in the different ceremonies. And yes, for the ranks and orders, we usually have like a forma for giving the bakawiyya or a certain order to a certain person, just with changing the name of the person and and the name of the rank or the order which he will got from the king or the monarch in general. I don't know.
Mabruk, yes, Sarah, it was very interesting. Thank you.
Merci,
And I wish you all the best in the future of your research. That's actually the sense of my question, because as you know, I'm not specialized at all in what you do. Also, I'm a woman of the people, so to speak, so I'm not super specialized, especially in monarchy, but I'm very interested as long as new avenues of research go, if you have some ideas, but I know it's not directly your subject, so no pressure. I'm just wondering, because this is also a golden age of journalism, and how do you have any archive, especially, I don't know, caricature or ways that you can perceive how the normal people perceived that protocol? Were they, I don't know, ways that people made fun of it? Did they respect it? Were they interested in it? How also maybe it was perceived in foreign countries? If other countries were interested in Egypt, did they have an opinion on the protocol of Egypt? Do you have anything about that?
Actually, no, I didn't find anything concerning caricature or something criticizing any of the protocols and ceremonies in the press. They were usually, especially Musawwar, was very interesting because it gave detailed information concerning the ceremonies, the royal palace, and its protocol, but nothing concerning criticizing for it. So, at least as I know. And then, sorry, what was, okay, thank you.
Okay, I think it was the last question and the last answer. So thank you again, Sarah, for this very nice presentation and extensive discussion. And I will pass the mic to Abbas, who has an announcement.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much, Mercedes and Sarah. It was very interesting, and I want only to announce the next seminar, which will be next week, mardi 16 Mai, 16, by Quentin Cessillon and Giuliane Cattore, approche inter- et transdisciplinaire des paysages de l'Égypte ancienne. So it will be in French. Merci beaucoup. Thank you.
Merci. شكرا ربنا يبارك.